And we have Srila Bhakti Goswami Maharaj's voice, but
Hare
not
Krishna.
yet his. Oh yes, his form has
Can you
also
hear
joined
me?
us. Loud and clear, Maharaj.
All right.
Jai Srila Bhakti Surya
You need
Goswami
to adjust
Maharaj.
his volume. It's like too much. Yes, keep speaking, Maharaj, so we get the right.
Okay, Jai Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Sunda Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki Jai. Jai
It's
Srila
still
Guru
like
Maharaj.
but it's okay. I think it could be on his end because
Maharaj, I'll whisper. Jai Srila Bhakti.
No, don't whisper.
Goswami Maharaj ki Jai.
Kenshin Maharaj said there was in South Africa, and one of the places, a Zulu leader or someone said there's certain people there generationally, they do not know how to whisper. They're incapable of whispering. Said because there was this one king previously, if people were whispering, he assumed that they were conspiring against him, so he would have them killed. So generationally, there are these people who like, whispering is not in their dictionary or part of their DNA. So I always remember that. And Prabhupada, he used to call it fish. Again, like conspiracy. He saw people whispering. On that happy note.
Yes, Maharaj. We're so happy that we have the Vaishnava Association and King Birambir, who we all have heard about through him stealing the books as they were being taken from Vrindavan to Navadip. His generation after him, they had the rule that you had to chant Krishna Nam, otherwise you'll be evicted from the kingdom. So all sorts of wonderful things came from powerful leaders, just see.
And I've heard Madhusudan Maharaj has similar rules in his ashram.
If I were to have an ashram, maybe I would.
Yes.
Hare Krishna.
We support this type of fanaticism.
So Maharaj, we've all come to Jagannath Puri, but we've come to Jagannath Puri today through Gupta Govardhan in Chiang Mai, and we're coming to see the Dham through the devotees. And of course, we're seeing the Dham through our wonderful spiritual masters, and this is being presented generation by generation, so we can see and feel what is behind the material aspect of the Holy Dham.
Yeah.
So first of all, Maharaj, maybe we should just, now we've got the volumes a little bit set, just give our jais to Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhakti Sunda Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai, jai Srila Guru Maharaj, founder and charger of Sri Chaitanya Satmatma, Srila Bhakti Rock Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
And Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur ki jai, Rupanuga Vaga ki jai, Vishwarani Srila A.C. Bhakti Swami Prabhupada ki jai, and the Jai Srila Bhakti Sudhir Goswami Maharaj ki jai, and Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Acharya Vrinda ki jai. Jai Shri Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari Bo.
Jai Shri Bhakti Ranjan.
So much. Yes.
Yes, so
yesterday,
remember yesterday we were, we at the conclusion of our parikrama, we went back to our mat, where they're the deities of Nitai Chaitanya. And since that's where we're situated presently, ontologically, Hare Krishna. So I thought it would be wonderful and appropriate if you could say something about the pastimes, their pastimes, Now His Divine Grace, Srila Bhakti-sundar Govindadev Goswami Maharaj brought them to Puri. What was his concept and how this all transpired?
So this transpired from the time of Sri Guru Maharaj, in fact, from our time early in the 1980s. And Srila Guru Maharaj had said to Srila Govinda Maharaj about how it is good to make a temple in Vrindavan, means Govardhan. So when devotees go there on pilgrimage, they have our temple, our shelter. And similarly in Jagannath Puri, because devotees are naturally going to Jagannath Puri as one of the principal places of the Leela of Mahaprabhu. And so in Puri, especially Rath Yatra time, very difficult to get accommodation. And so Guru Maharaj said to Srila Gurudev, you can make in Jagannath Puri and in Vrindavan, and at the request of Govinda Maharaj, Guru Maharaj also sanctioned that we have a transit station in Calcutta. So we heard many times Gurudev this. And so then Gurudev, from 1982 that I know of, he was looking for land in Jagannath Puri to fulfill this wish of Srila Guru Maharaj. And different devotees went there trying to secure somewhere, but unsuccessfully. And then a couple of years later, then Gurudev told to Guru Maharaj, Guru Maharaj, I will go there, and if it is your wish and Jagannath's mercy, then I must be successful. So many have tried different things. Gurudev himself went to Puri, and then he tried and tried, and then he's thinking, why I'm not getting anywhere? And he's trying to stay a little away from the area where the pandas are and where it's close to the Jagannath temple. He was trying to find somewhere a little further away. And then finally, Gurudev came to Jagannath and prayed to Jagannath, all right, I've been unsuccessful also trying to find a place where I want. However, wherever you give some land, I will accept that and make a temple for Guru Maharaj, or the devotees of Guru Maharaj there. And then Gurudev said that within 2 or 3 days from his prayer to Jagannath, then this particular land came at Gorbatsai, the area where our temple is. Where the temple is here in this picture. This land, he said, within 2 or 3 days, he got news of this land. And he met the owner who was selling the land, and it was all settled within 5 minutes. Literally, Gurudev told, within 5 minutes, everything was settled. Yes, this is the land we want, we'll purchase it, and all was set up. And Gurudev, of course, being Gurudev, he's saying that everything is Jagannath's mercy, that he has given us this place in Jagannath Puri, and it's a place which is near to Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur's Purushottam Gaudiya mat, near Haridas Thakur's Samadhi, near Tota Gopinath temple of Sri Gadadhar Pandit. And Gurudev explained that this route right past where our temple is would be where Mahaprabhu would have many times come up and down on his way to and from the ocean and in his pastimes. So it's nearer to Jagannath, it's nearer to the Leela places that we know of the Lord. And but Gurudev said, this is what Jagannath wanted, so we accepted it. And then Gurudev, in due course of time, made, in fact, what was first there, if we see the photo again, what was first there was just the downstairs of a L-shaped building, so that what is to the right of the temple, the saffron color building, the downstairs of that, and just behind the temple, which is all one building, that was there. And where the temple is, it was a small garden, and with just enough space basically to park the car, and then there were just a few flower beds beside. And I drove Gurudev there to Puri. In fact, I drove him to Puri before the arrangement for the temple. Also, then when the deities were to come to the temple, also drove Srila Gurudev to Puri at that time. But when we came to Puri, then really when Gurudev was discussing about making a temple in that area, it was almost like, how can we make a temple here? But we see such a beautiful temple building has manifested in that small area. And almost it's inconceivable, but Gurudev could conceive how a sweet temple and that mandir can fit into that small space in the front of, or in that L-shape, within the L-shaped ashram. And Gurudev built above the ashram, and he also got land behind the ashram, on the next road behind, for the guest house, so that there'll be accommodation for devotees. But Maharaj, you're asking about the deities. The deities are Sri Sri Nitai Chaitanya Dev, and these deities were already in Navadip, and they were due for coming into Govinda Kund. In fact, they were due for Leela in Govinda Kund. And as Maharaj Goswami Maharaj knows very well, the deities have their own life. And so the deities were due for Govinda Kund. And Guru Maharaj gave that the blessing. Gurudev told that Guru Maharaj touched the feet of these deities of Nitai Chaitanya Dev. And Gurudev, with Guru Maharaj's permission, then Gurudev, he asked Guru Maharaj's permission that these deities may come to Puri, because Guru Maharaj had considered that in Puri, what deities will be in our temple? And he is saying, he was telling that in Puri, there is so much Leela of Nitai and Gauranga. And Gauranga is famous in Puri, but very few deities, if any, that Gurudev himself, he was saying, I don't know of any temple with Nitya deities. Maybe there is one somewhere. He is saying like this. But, and he said, and if so, Nitai and Gauranga, I think not. So Gurudev discussing with Guru Maharaj, and Gurudev saying that Guru Maharaj gave that directive that it will be Nitai and Chaitanya Dev having their Leela in Puri, and so they will be there in our temple. So the deities that originally were thought to be going for water pastimes in Govinda Kund, then by Guru Maharaj's blessing and Gurudev's we can say blessing. I'm not quite sure what the right word is here, because I mean, the Lord is the Lord. By Gurudev following the will of Nitai Chaitanya Dev, then Nitai Chaitanya Dev made the journey to Puri. And I can just briefly say that the journey to Puri, Gurudev wanted to take Nitai Chaitanya Dev by road in the car, and so that Nityananda and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they can see the journey that they took between Navadip and Puri. And remember, that time they're going by foot. And Gurudev himself, whenever he went to Puri, I know later on a couple of times he went on the night train, but generally and certainly he preferred to go in the daytime, whether it's the daytime train or the daytime driving in car. But this way, Gurudev would be absorbed, and we went with him also train. We went with him in the car, and he'd be really quite absorbed in the whole journey, seeing out of the window. And this way that not only Mahaprabhu and Nityananda, but Shivananda Sain and so many devotees making this pilgrimage to Puri. And Gurudev, he really appreciated that. And Gurudev, he wanted to take Nitai and Chaitanya, the deities, in the car so they can see the journey. But the devotees kind of pressurized Gurudev and said, oh, Gurudev, but the car, it's not so safe for the deities to go there. Maybe they even said there are no seat belts in the car for, for the deities. And I think there were no seat belts in the car anyway. It was WMY-194, the ambassador that we drove down in. But anyhow, they're thinking, oh, it's going to be not so safe for the deities, not so convenient. And so the deities, the devotees, they kind of said, Gurudev, we'll take on the train. So anyhow, Gurudev a little bit reluctantly saw everyone saying that. Then they went on the train. So on the overnight train, packed up. But Gurudev, I drove Gurudev that day also to Puri, and we started from Calcutta. But on our journey, which should be quite straightforward, because it's a very untechnical car that everybody can fix, and it's just, we drive from Calcutta to Puri. But that journey took us more than 24 hours without a moment's stop or a moment's rest or a moment of like anything. Trying to make the journey took more than 24 hours for what should be an 8-hour journey. And we had so many unexpected problems along the way. And repeatedly on the journey. Okay, first breakdown, one thing. Second breakdown, another. Then Gurudev is saying, why this is happening? Gaura Nitai are unhappy that they've gone on the train and they're not in the car with us. I mean, this is Gurudev's so affectionate, sweet kind of vision. And really, Gurudev is saying this, and he's taking it on his own shoulders. I'm the cause of my own trouble. Basically, Gurudev is saying that I gave permission that they will go in the train, but I know they wanted to come in the car and see the journey. And really, we had mechanics who were completely baffled of why the car didn't go. And I also have some mechanical experience from previous life. And I can say the ambassador is super simple and it defied all logic. And we would even get to the car, go, we'd drive away, and then we would drop down to like 20 kilometers an hour, 10 kilometers an hour, 5 kilometers an hour, and barely making an uphill gradient, and then coming to the next village with a mechanic and this, that, and the other. And so many things took place. But let us just say that really it was more than 24 hours journey. And it is also something that I also think about sometimes when there's some urgent service that has to be done. And we think that that service to drive Gurudev and the devotees means you can't not drive. You can't doze off, have a nap or anything else. And they may all be resting, but you have to be like alert. And it's India, believe it or not, you have to be a little alert on the roads because nobody else is. How does it work that way? I do not know. Anyway, so I do sometimes think of that when it's like there's something we have to do, and then think, yes, it's possible. If we have to do it, we can do it. And so we need to, use our energy carefully in service. Anyhow, we came to Puri, and then, of course, once we're in Puri, and then bit by bit, Gurudev, recovering from the journey, and then a wonderful installation festival with all the kirtan and all the prasadam, as you would expect from a good Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Math festival. And the rest is history, we can say, in the sense of establishing the deities, installing the deities there. And Gurudev super happy in Puri. And actually, we can say many things, but one thing is I can say that Gurudev always was happy in Puri. And he repeatedly mentioned this, both when he was in Puri and when he's elsewhere. He said, in Navadip, so many troubles, worries are coming to me. In Calcutta also, with all the like official things that need doing and so many things coming. But in Puri, I am feeling so much peace coming to Puri. Jai, and here's Gurudev. This is a photo of him, and this is taken in the Daita Das Seva Bhavan, no? Daita Das Seva Kunj, I believe. And Gurudev's room was downstairs on the left there. Oh, but is this? Oh, it is Puri. Excuse me. It's the Seva Bhavan. Excuse me. I was thrown off there by the picture. I was thinking of somewhere else. It's Seva Bhavan. This is behind our temple. Gurudev built originally 2 stories, then now 3 stories. And now it is actually 4 stories, 4 ground floor plus 3 more floors. The Sevak Bhavan. But Gurudev originally is saying right there at the temple, and then staying in the Sevak Bhavan just on the left, there, where I think that was possibly Bhakti Lalita in the picture, I'm not sure, but just behind where Bhakti Lalita, if it was standing, that was Gurudev's room. And that veranda, oh, right here, thank you. This veranda, exactly, where Gurudev would sit and the devotees would come to him very informally. And from here, Gurudev can see the road. That time, it was a super quiet road. This was the only building, the Sevak Bhavan was the only building on that side of the road. And it was very quiet. And from there, there's nowhere, the cars don't need to go anywhere. The only place was the Burla guest house just down the road. And then further along was one hotel way down the place. And then further along, there was a Goshala and one devotee who Gurudev would go to visit, a very respectable gentleman. But Gurudev would sit there, he would see what was happening, and he would be super accessible to the devotees in a very free, natural environment. And I think every devotee who's been with Gurudev in Puri must be heart inspired by the sweetness, the harikatha, the gentleness of Gurudev's behavior with everyone, and just being so accessible. Hare Krishna Maharaj, we can say many things. I think this is a little introduction to our temple. And in some ways, of course, wherever we go, our temple is the most important. Just as everywhere we go is the most important, but our temple in one sense is the most important because it's the place of Gurudev's pastimes, and we are so much reminded, how much mercy is coming from his pastimes, from Guru Maharaj's pastimes, and coming from there to the whole world. And a couple of, maybe 3 weeks ago, I was in Rome for some programs in Rome. And there, as we're driving along, Dhananjay Prabhu, he pointed out one place. He said, here, thousands of people come normally when it's not the COVID restriction time. So many tourists come because here, Saint Francis spent one night when he came to Rome. And because of that, it's a great pilgrimage place. And I thought, okay, very, very wonderful. But similarly, or more than that, we have these places of like the Paramahamsa devotees from the highest plane where they've had so many nights and so many pastimes. So in Puri also here, we have this wonderful refuge, shelter for our family of devotees established by Gurudev with the blessing of Guru Maharaj. And Jagannath Puri, anyhow, it is very special for all of the Gaudiya Sampradaya. But Gurudev also has a very special place for Puri in his heart. It's where he also received Harinam initiation. He came to the temple, he joined Guru Maharaj forever at Chaturmasya, and he received his initiation on the Jagannath Rath Yatra day in Puri. And Gurudev staying with Guru Maharaj in very simple style. And he happily also pointed where they stayed in Puri. And very happily Gurudev pointing out places where he's been in Puri with Guru Maharaj, and he just had me drive around Puri one day, just me, and he's pointing out, back, he must have been here as an administrator and this place. Really, it was very sweet when Gurudev is looking at the old government buildings and considering, Thakur there in Puri. And then he's showing Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Bhajan Kutia where he was, which is all very close to our temple too. So maybe starting from our temple, we have the foundation. Maybe we can ask Maharaj where he would like to go.
Chatak Parvat.
Chatak Parvat.
Purushottam
Yes,
Gaudiya. Yeah.
So Maharaj, would you like to go there with one Panchatattva and two Mahamantras from the local devotees in Chennai?
Who could resist?
Because in Puri also, so much, wherever we go, it's with Kirtan. And I think one Panchatattva, two Mahamantras, because it's very nearby. We'll just walk out from our temple, turn left, come up the road, and then a little bit left and right and left, and we're right there at Chatak Parvat, the Purushottam Gaudiya mat, and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's temple there in Puri, and his Bhajan Kutir on the Chatak Parvat itself. So over to the Kirtaniyas, I think.
Yes. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So we hear from
yes,
Srila
Maharaj. Over to you, Maharaj. Yes.
We hear from Srila Guru Maharaj how Navadvip will say there's Gupta Vrindavan, Gupta Govardhan, Gupta Radhakunda, different places. And as we hear in Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Navadvip Dham Mahatmyam, he has the vision to see the infinite aspects of the Dham and its variegated manifestation. Like we heard the other day, Guru Maharaj began his talk by saying all the phases of the infinite are infinite. So our general predicament is that even when we're seeing divine things, We're seeing the infinite, we're seeing it as finite. That is our predicament. Even divine things we're seeing. And that is our mistake. Brahm is the word for that. Right? To mistake, we heard Prahlad, what is, and the finite, the most finite thing about a stone column, he's seeing the central conception of the infinite, Nrsingadev appears. That's the vision of devotee. There's a famous verse with Narayanam Santa Paramartina Jagadanamayam Anyam Kamuka Kaminimayam, something saying, according to what your heart's inner necessity is, that's how you see everything. So, in this verse, it says the Kamini, Kamuka Kaminimaya, those who are mad with lust, they see everything as an opportunity, and everyone is an opportunity for that. Businessman sees everything as a business opportunity. Other people are not seeing that. They're seeing something else. Businessman says, oh, here's a great opportunity. Right? These three are mentioned. Kamuka, Kamini, the Kami, one overwhelmed by lust, one overwhelmed by, you can say, greed. And then it said, but about the devotee, they see everything as a spiritual opportunity. Like Madhusudan is explaining how in that small space where no one would think, the Gurudev, he makes a beautiful temple, installs Nitai Chaitanya. He's seeing it. You could say he pre-visualized that. Right. So when it comes to the Dham, Srila Guru Maharaj said, we must have the eyes to see the Dham. When devotees would go to Navadvip, and sometimes the people were mocking them or taunting them, calling them names, making fun of them, or devotees were observing things that were overtly mundane going on. There were so many different things that the objective way overwhelms us and can be a test of our faith, or even faith damaging. So when devotees would be perplexed and express this sort of contrast to Guru Maharaj, that's the word he said. Maya has come to contrast what is genuinely spiritual. So are you here for what you can preconceive as some spiritual stereotype? You're looking for that, and you want what you see visually to verify or reinforce that? Or under the influence of Sadhu, Shastra, Guru, Vaishnav, what we've heard, you can see with what we've heard from them. From Bhakti Yoga Paribhavita Hrit Saroja, Ase Sutekshita Pato Nanunata Pungsang. It's interesting, this verse saying how the Lord appears on the heart in a way that reciprocates the sort of devotion the devotee has. So it's one thing to think he's a particular way, and then you develop some charm from that, or a particular type of devotion reveals Krishna in a particular way. Both have their place, right? We're talking Krishna Mai, Radharani. Wherever she casts her vision, Shyamasundar Krishna appears. Was he there and she's seeing him there? Or that is her nature. She can cast and manifest Krishna. Right? So sometimes Guru Maharaj will say, faith is the halo of Srimati Radharani. Like Tari Dambara, she's by contrast, she's revealing Krishna. So this verse is Ase Shruta Ikshita. pata. Pata means path. Said, what is the path of Krishna consciousness, bhakti yoga, if you will? And said, the path where you see by hearing. The ears are the instrument for seeing. So that's why when we go to the Dham, we consider all the things that we've heard from our Sri Guru Varga. Right? Srila Guru Maharaj, Srila Gurudev, Srila Prabhupada, Saraswati Thakur, on. As we've heard from them, then we have some possibility of seeing properly. We know various stories where these things took place. It may have happened more than once that some devotees here in Puri, they went for darshan, they're telling Saraswati Thakur, where have you been? Oh, we just had darshan of that. You saw Jagannath? Yes, Guru Maharaj. We were just saying, you saw Jagannath? Yes, Guru Maharaj. You saw Jagannath? No, Prabhupada, we did not see Jagannath. Yes, that is your eye exercise. I think Srila Saraswati Thakur had a great sense of humor, because there's just one after another of things that are, they're humorous, but ontologically profound and enlightening. And what do you mean, eye exercise? That you can even read in the Bhagavatam in different places saying, when you view the deity, first you shall look at the lotus feet, then move up the form of the Krishna, then like the lotus face of Krishna, then from in different ways. So it means if you were looking the other way, your eyes, that your eyeballs, they're going like this. They start down, then they go up like this, then they go this way, and they go that way, and they. So Saraswati Thakur said, eye exercise. Like, what is he saying? You have no capacity to see. Like we say, oh, darshan means you go to see the deity. That's the common understanding. And we're here for uncommon understanding. So Guru Maharaj, he says, you go to be seen by the deity. That's more tenable. He's saying, what is our capacity to see the deity? Minuscule. Right? But he's saying, but the deity, can the infinite make itself known to the finite? The infinite, Krishna, has full capacity to see the aspiring servitors. That is a more beautiful thing. Right? Angani yasya sakalendriya vittimanti pashanti panti kalyanti charam jaganti ananda chenmaya sadujvala vigrahasya govinda mari purusham. All of his senses are interchangeable. So he can see through touch. He can hear with his feet. All of his senses are interchangeable, we're told. And the good news is, so are the jivas in the Swarup Siddhi. But, so the deity can see you. That's why we should make ourselves, we should be clean, tilaked, when coming before the deity, to be seen, like we're told, the gopis, they have no body consciousness, but they make themselves look very beautiful with their makeup, their kajal, and their dress, and their everything they do. Why? For the pleasure of Krishna. That's what we're told. And this is their line, right? Gopi, Baba, Rasamrita, again and again and again. And what does Mahaprabhu come for? But Gopi Bhav. And particularly the highest, the Bhav of the highest Gopi, otherwise known as Radha Bhav. Right? Make no mistake, Mahaprabhu is a follower. Krishna is a follower of the Braja Gopis. That's what he thinks Krishna consciousness is. He's in the best position to make that assessment. Not only has he read all the scriptures, he generated all of them. Right? So if he who is, the embodiment of all revealed truth says, this is the way, are there any questions from our side? Mahaprabhu, Gopi Bhartur Padakamaleo Dasa Dasa Anudasa. He's mad with Gopi Bhav. Why? Because they're the most Krishna conscious people. Right? Aradhya Bhagavan Brajesha Tanayas Tadama Vrindavanam. Ramya Kachid Upasana Brajabadu Bargena Jakalpitai. Vishnu is saying there's no superior method of worshiping Krishna than what is invented, conceived, manufactured, imagined from the hearts of the Brajagopis. There's nothing higher than that. Right? That's what Mahaprabhu has come to celebrate. And what is their way? The inverse. We told our Brahm mistake is even in dealing with the infinite, we're seeing finite. That's why we're on that darshan side of the equation, better to be seen by the deity. Right? Right. So Guru Maharaj said, when we see Jagannath, these are his words, you say, what do we see? An awkward figure. He said, and what happens when Mahaprabhu sees Jagannath? He said, Ganga-like streams of tears they're streaming from his eyes, right? And what did Vrindavan Das Thakur say very beautifully in the Chaitanya Bhagavat? That he said in a nice poetic way that usually the Ganga comes from the feet of the Lord. He said, oh, what is this? The Ganga is pouring out of his eyes. How beautiful. He's saying, when Mahaprabhu, he says, Shama Sundar Krishna. And these streams, Ganga-like streams of tears pouring from his eyes. Hare Krishna. Jai Jagannath. So, and why does he look like that? Right? Like, say there's numerous stories that you can say. What will Guru Maharaj say? They all can be true. Krishna is showing to one person in one way, another person another way. So there's Puranic stories, there's this story. I like to repeat what Guru Maharaj says. And he says, and we can say with reference to Brihad Bhagavatamritam of Sanatana Goswami Prabhu, when, remember, Sanatana Goswami is going to show step by step by step, incrementally, take you to the highest plane of the highest devotion of the highest devotees. Right? Sometimes Guru Maharaj will say in Upadeshamritam, Rupa Goswami leapt from Vaikuntha to Mathura and it's like bypassing so many along the way. Vaikuntaj Janitobara Madhupuri Tatrapi Rasotavad. But Sanatana Goswami Prabhu, the Bhakti Siddhanta Acharya, the Sambandha Gyan Acharya. So he's showing step by step by step, incrementally. And so he goes from the Shalagram worshipping Brahmins here who say, oh, but South Indian king, so like this is nothing comparison to that. South Indian king saying, yeah, that's the worship of this world. That's why the first chapter called Boma, this world. He's saying, go above this world. And, Indra, like Vamandev is his little brother, And so you see, and Swargaloka, what type of worship there is there? Then from there, we know to where? Brahma. He's saying, yes, little brother, but lotus flower from Garbhodakshai Vishnu, Brahma, Atmabhu Brahma. Brahma, as Guru saying, so I'm so busy managing the universe, I don't have time for mantra and japa. So he's saying, go to Shiva, beneath, the 800-mile banyan tree, totally quiet there. naked, meditating on the Lord, doesn't have a care in the world. And Shiva says, oh, and this is the Tyag Shiv of Jnana Mishra Bhaktis. Sends him saying, pure devotion, Prahlad. Goes to Prahlad Maharaj. And offering so much praise, Narada, right? And we thought, Guru said, Prahlad's going, Gurudev, please. It's not good for the Guru to flatter the disciple. Praising me, I'm one of your insignificant aspiring servitors, please, you know. He said, but you remember the Lord under all circumstances? Yes, by your grace. That's what Prahlad, by your grace, that is true. But I have no seva. Remembering all the time, but no active seva. I rather appreciate Hanuman than to Hanuman. Dasya rasa. Hanuman saying, yes, but I got to serve Ramachandra long ago, but now I heard my Lord has appeared and, you know, he's with the Pandavas and showing so many extraordinary, and like with this intimate friendship, goes to Pandavas praising, Yudhisthira saying, oh, please. Anyone hears about our pastimes, they'll say, no, thank you. Being a devotee of Krishna means a life of trouble. Right? Then Narada, he's a great devotee. He said, no, we see what it means is when troubles come in the life of the devotee, Krishna comes and rescues them. That's what we learned from your pastimes. Yudhisthira, well, any Krishna here you see? No, he's with the Yadavas and Dwaraka. So he goes there, and we're told there's a doorway, that, what is it? Sudharma Assembly Hall, made by Vishwakarma. And there's a door that Krishna comes through every day. And everyone's waiting, looking at that door. So people like to talk about meditation. You know? I'm saying, so imagine this is your meditation. You're meditating. You're meditating on a door, right? But it's that door through which Krishna enters every day. How much excitement is there within them, anticipating that at any moment that door is going to open? The suspense of it all. That door will open, and then the inconceivably beautiful personality, supreme personality of Godhead, will walk through that door with all of his charm and grace and movement, and they're waiting. But we're told this day the door is not opening. Krishna's behind schedule. So more anticipation. Hare Krishna. And so those Yadavas send Narada, and he goes behind the door because they're saying, look, we're all on this side of the door. You know who's on the other side of the door in terms of devotees? Who? Uddhava. The best among us, he's over there. If we're on this side, he's inside. So as that, when Guru Maharaj met a Shrutadhar in South India, and that means someone, whatever they've heard, they have perfect recall of that, right? So some of these men, they like Bhagavad is 18,000 slokas, 16,000 extent. He meets a Shrutadhar. He knows all the verses of the Bhagavatam. He can recite the entire Bhagavatam. Like when we talk about the person Bhagavat. We don't mean it like that, actually. Our Guru, that's not what they taught us. But anyway, I'm just saying for the sake of speaking. But so this man, he can do the whole Bhagavatam for you. He knows it all. He doesn't have to look in the book. That type of person. Then you're going to understand what type of person Guru Maharaj is. So that man, Bhaktivinoda Thakur is describing Bharabhyahi. Guru Maharaj, he describes as Saragrahi. And this will help us understand. So Guru Maharaj said that, Dandavat. So considering your vast, acquaintance with the Bhagavatam, who do you consider to be the greatest devotees? He says, Chatushan, the four Kumaras, they're the greatest, And what say you, Sridhar Maharaj? And Guru Maharaj said, no, with all due respect, they're in the lowest position. What? Srila Guru Maharaj, he said, he takes 2 verses from the Bhagavatam. This is what is the Bhaktivinoda Thakur described, Saragrahi. That means who grasps the essence. Sarva Vedanta Saram Hi Sri Bhagavatam Isyate Tadrasam Ritam Triptasya Nanyatra Shad Rati Kvachit. When you have this capacity, everything else is tasteless. When you can extract the cream. So with 2 slokas, Guru Maharaj demonstrates to him, proves to him who is highest. First, from Krishna. As I mentioned before, we should accept Krishna as an authority on everything. When he has an opinion on, we should accept that. You can just go with that. You don't have to, well, let me Google that. No, just Krishna. Krishna says this, you just go with that. So Guru Maharaj, knowing that, starts with Krishna. And he says, Natata Priyatama Atmayonir Nashankara Nacha Sankarshana Sri Naivatma Chayata Bhavan. And if you consider where we are in the Bhagavatamritam, it's interesting because the sequence is still there. Saying, there's no one more dear to me, not Atmabhu, remember Brahma, not Sankarsha, Shiva, Shankara. And here he says, not even Sankarshan. And I just like to point out, he didn't say Balaram. It says Sankarshan. Just, And Sri Lakshmi. There's some coding in anything. So none of them are as dear to me as Uddhava, as you, my dear Uddhava. Sanatana Goswami says, actually, he was going to say, as my devotee, but since Uddhava's there, he says, that's a sidebar to Brihad Bhagavatamritam Tika Sanatana Goswami. But, so he says, you, Uddhava, no one is dear to me as you. So now, who was on the other side of that door, right, on the inside. So now that Krishna just established him as holding that position, then Guru Maharaj comes with the second verse. Asa, that from Uddhava. So Krishna certifies Uddhava. Then what will Uddhava say? Asamaho charanenu jashamahangsham Brindavane kimapi gumlato sadinam Yaddustadam swajanamajapatam chihitva Bejur mukunda parivrim shrutibir vimrigyam. Remember when Radha, we were talking about Mathura Biraha yesterday, as expressed by Advaita, then later Madhavendra Puri, and this is like the ankur of the prem coming out of that. So when Radharani and Brajagopis are experiencing this separation from Krishna, and where we're told, Atadi Adbhavan Anikananam Chutirukayate Tamapashatam Kutila Kundalam Srimokam Jate Yada Idrikshasham Pakshmakrid, means Pakshmakridasham. The gopis are cursing Brahma. And remember, they're very nice girls. They're like perfect in every way. so that they would have the audacity to curse the creator. I mean, he's also Guna avatar. To curse him. Why? And he's saying, you don't know how to make eyes. What is this thing that keeps going like that? We're looking, young Shama Sundarama Chintraguna Swarup of Krishna, and then this is happening. What? What is that? Don't you know what you're doing? So they're cursing him for making eyes that blink, because that moment separation is intolerable to them. And just as a sidebar, all the meeting, the union part, we're told Brahma Ratri, a night of Brahma, the Rasa, when Krishna gave the signal to Yogamaya, she assembled 4,300,000,000 nights to be one, so that it would go on forever, relatively speaking. And what do they say? 4,300,000,000 years of union was like the blink of an eye. Did it happen? Like the poet who said that about blackbird, he said, I do not know which I prefer, the sound of the songbird or just after. So there's during that, but then the remembrance after, the aftermath of that may be more preferable and a longer sustained deep emotional divine love experience. So that was just a moment, right? But here we say a moment of separation was like 4 billion, like a yuga to them. So Krishna, he always wants to shine the spotlight on devotion and the devotees and the supreme devotee. So he sends Uddhava with a message to them, because they're dying in separation from him. But he also wants Uddhava to observe them. And that's when he's saying, he knows intimately the queens of Dwaraka, Narada, all these great devotees. After he saw the Braja Gopis and Radharani, her divine madness and the Brahmar Gita, which is what? What is Mahaprabhu doing behind closed doors with Swarup Damodar and Ramananda? The Brahmar Gita. That's part of what he's doing. That's what it means by saying Uddhava Darshane. At the time of Uddhava's darshan, it means it's a codified reference for the Brahmar Gita. So that's when Uddhava said, so they're so great. Now he's been certified to be the most dear to Krishna. He's saying, they're so great. Radharani and the Braja Gopis. My aspiration is an atomic presence in their plane, as a blade of grass, a creeper, something, so that when they move in the plane of that divine service to Krishna, some of the dust from their holy lotus feet will come upon my head, and I'll be bathed in that, thereby consecrating my existence. So in 2 verses, Guru Maharaj established she always wins. Srimati Radharani, the leader of the Braja Gopis. The reason Krishna came down as Mahaprabhu, to experience what she's experiencing, otherwise known or popularly known as Krishna consciousness. He wants to experience Krishna consciousness. Krishna Chaitanya. So that Uddhava, who's on the other side of that door, right? The problem is Krishna cannot get out of bed on this particular day. Why? Because sometimes Rohini, Balaram's mother, she has position in Vrindavan, also Dwarka. She's telling about, the queens are very eager to hear about Krishna, you know, like this girlfriend he had when Tina, you know, and other girlfriends there in his village. Well, you know, Rohini, oh, and telling story, you know. And Krishna hearing that, he's overwhelmed in separation. Right? We're told those queens, they discuss amongst themselves his absent-mindedness. Right? They're saying, you know, sometimes in his sleep, he's calling out the names of cows. And another queen will say, sometimes in his sleep, he's calling out the names of gopis. And another queen will say, in his sleep, sometimes he's just staring out the window doing that. And they're all sharing their experiences of the absent-mindedness of Dwaraka Krishna. So we're told it's there all the time. He will later reveal that to the Braja Gopis, that he's crying his eyes out in separation from them. Right? That it's constant. But we could say, sometimes it becomes overwhelming. And on this particular day, it's overwhelming. And so intense that Krishna's limbs have entered into his body, his arms and legs, and his eyes have become huge. And he's undergone this ecstatic transformation and become Jagannath. So Jagannath, that is Krishna feeling separation from Radharani and the Braja. No wonder why the boys love him so much. And we're told then Balaram and Subhadra walk into the room and it happens to them. So you have Jagannath, Subhadra, Balabhadra. So mistaking one thing for another. So Mahaprabhu, he's trying to maintain his composure. Remember, he's here for this reason, really. This is what he's descended for. How much can he tolerate? So he has those first 24 years pastimes. Even then, sometimes we see how he gets overwhelmed. But playing as Varaha, different things you could say to keep himself occupied. The Varaha avatar. But once he's mad with Gopi Bhav, when he returns from Gaya, then we know it's just a matter of time. This is not going to last. He's not going to be able to remain there. And we know shortly afterward, he's taking sannyas, running madly to Puri, to Vrindavan, but then steered to Puri. That Krishna, who you're feeling separation from, he's in, Puri, which represents Dwaraka, which represents the intent where separation reaches its zenith point. That's the point about Dwaraka and Kurukshetra, and why this is not peripheral, but central. But there, Mahaprabhu, we're told, during the daytime, he's trying to maintain his composure. Like we heard yesterday, that fainting, that when he tried to run up and embrace Jagannath, he's fainting. To prevent that, he's saying, in the future, I'll stay back by the Garuda Stamba. I'll have a distant darshan to just try and keep the ecstatic emotional intensity at a manageable level. Right? And interacting with different devotees, as we said, when Krishna interacts with different devotees, the sort of devotion that then is in their heart, he's reciprocating that. So that's actually one way of controlling him to a certain degree. But we're told at night, when he's in the Gaudiya room, which has 3 doors, no windows, and they're locking, and after Swarup Damodar and Ramananda leave sometimes, in the earlier part, Govinda's sleeping outside, and here Mahaprabhu needs something, or if they're in total anxiety, because if they hear him chanting loudly the name of Krishna, then they can be very happy. But then we're told sometimes they hear him crying pitifully or running, and then his divine form hitting the cement walls. And then they find him later with bruised and bloody, and it's very painful for the devotees because he's running for Krishna, running into a wall. But sometimes it goes silent. He's not there. So then they have to get Swarup Damodar, Ramananda, open the doors, and then say, he's not in the room, although there's no way to escape. And they have to search for him. And sometimes they find him at the gate, the Singadwar. He's trying to go where Jagannath, where Krishna is. And first, sometimes they find him there, we're told that his limbs are entering his body. So he looks, it appears like a giant golden pumpkin. And the devotees are in a state of shock and disbelief to find his divine form that way. When gradually goes from internal to half external to external consciousness, the limbs come out and he resumes his normal form. But other times they go there, they find him, oh, there he is. They find him, but then they see his body, the ecstasy, asta sattvika vikar, has gone in another direction. And now every joint on his body is separated by this much. And this is heartbreaking for the devotees to find him this way. They chant the holy name of Krishna, he comes out of that, and then his form resumes its normal position. So Guru Maharaj will say, there's nothing anywhere even remotely described like this in any scripture, everywhere, anywhere, at any time. It's never, there's no parallel anywhere to that. So that the Brahm, right, mistaking one thing for another. Sometimes he mistakes the ocean for the Jamuna. Right? And so he's running, and they find him floating there. Yeah. Other times, he smells the aroma of Krishna and starts just running into the wind, like trying to fly into the wind to embrace Krishna. And at other times, he sees Puri, the beach, the sand dunes, large sand dunes, and he thinks, Govardhan. And that's described as he's mistaking a sand dune to be Govardhan. We're mistaking Govardhan to be a sand dune. That's the perplexity. We're mistaking the divine to be something mundane. He's taking a sand dune there to be Govardhan. Right? So therefore we're told Chatak Parvat. And so the devotees will find him there. And what is he seeing that Govardhan? Again, Gopi Bhav. What do the gopis say when they see Govardhan in Bhagavatam? Right? Hantaya Madhulabala Haridasa Bharja Yad Rama Krishna Charana Sparasha Pramoda Manam Tanoti Sahago Kanayas Tayoryat Paniya, like Hapaniya, Pani Asuya Basakanda Rakanda Mulai. That this verse is so beautiful. It's from the Braja Gopis. This is how they see Govardhan. Remember, again, this is not peripheral. Govardhan is our target, right, of our Guru Varga. We say our superior gurus live in Radhakunda. Our guru, they say we shall aspire to be in Govardhan, collect flowers in Kusarovara, serve the superior gurus in Radhakunda, and return to Govardhan. Saraswati Thakur said in his final days at Panda, Madhusudan Maharaj knows his son very well. Yeah, the father or grandfather's name was Balaram. And Saraswati Thakur, he was, his Panda, get me a place. He said, when I leave, I'm gonna come and do bhajan here. So get a place. And they couldn't have children, the family. So what was it? Guru Maharaj gave a benediction that they'd have a son. Lord Hare Krishna. Anyway, so, but when Saraswati Thakur is leaving the world, so he gave that, it's in the final day. And by the way, it was in Puri, really, for the last 3 months, with Jajamar Maharaj singing every day, including Sri Rupa Manjari Pada, but also like Astakaliya Leela songs. This is the final days of Saraswati Thakur, Siddha plain song, sung by Jajavar Maharaj. Then they bring, it's getting, anyway. So he says to that Panda, that Panda has a dream in which Saraswati Thakur appears to him and says, Balaram, I've come. And that Panda is in Govardhan. And he's saying, Prabhupada appeared to me in a dream. Is something happened? They go, oh, don't you know? On December 31st, 1936, transitioning into January 1st of 1937, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur left this world, wound up his manifest pastimes, and as Guru Maharaj says, Hare Krishna, that Srimati Radharani could not tolerate his separation. Think about that. We talk about separation from Krishna, and that she could not tolerate being separated a moment longer from her beloved Nayana Mani Manjari, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and took him up into that plane. So Govardhan. So, because Mahaprabhu, that Gopi verse, Hantaya Madhura Labala Haridasa Bharja, they're saying, like Giraj here, the Braja Gopi is saying, you are Haridas Bharja. You're the best servant of Krishna. So Guru Maharaj said, Giraj Govardhan is similar to Mahaprabhu. Internally Krishna, externally like a devotee. Meaning, why? He's giving grass, sweet water, and also caves. And Mahaprabhu will say when the devotees find him saying, Radha and Krishna went into a cave and then the gopis gave me some seva to do. And now you all came here. And because they'll find, when they bring him out of these trances, and when he realizes that it was a dream, vision, he's very sad, or he's frantically searching for Radha and Krishna. So he tells them this very verse of the Braja Gopis about why they so much appreciate Govardhan, Haridas Bharjan, Yad Rama, and he's shivering and happy at the touch of the lotus feet of Rama and Krishna, and Hapani, Suryabasa, the waters there, and Vishnacharya Bharati, these ponds on Govardhan, they're like tears of Krishna Prem. Those are the ponds, little waterfalls and Krishna Premic waterfalls on Govardhan, like an inconceivably beautiful description. That Mahaprabhu is seeing in a sand dune in Puri. So it becomes known as Chatak Parvat. And so Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, it's interesting, noteworthy, that that's where he establishes the Purushottam Gaudiya Math. Remember Purushottam again, Purushottam Ketra, the name of Jagannath Puri. Purushottam means Jagannath also. So, but in doing that, there's a dilemma, because like Mahaprabhu is saying, don't go on Govardhan. Remember, Gopal was up there originally, then by divine arrangement, Gopal had to be taken down, and so Mahaprabhu didn't have to walk up the Govardhan to have the darshan of Gopal. And he's telling us, don't walk on Govardhan. So Saraswati Thakur, who's supremely aware of all of these intricate ontological considerations, realizes they're building a mat on it, right? It's not on the side, it's on it. So he asked Guru Maharaj to worship Vyasadeva and Madhva, right, as a means of propitiation. Right? So, hey Krishna, there you go. And Guru Maharaj said, like, with what there was no default mantra for Vyas or Madhva. But Saraswati Thakur knows Guru Maharaj is very qualified. Guru Maharaj could speak conversational Sanskrit. Besides what he can write, he can speak conversational Sanskrit. I know that. You know. And of course, Gurudev knows that. So Saraswati Thakur, Sridharam Sakalaveti, tells Sridhar, worship Vyas and Madhva. And that way, then what Guru Maharaj is explaining, and what will the principle be? Like, that in service, you may, ascend the altar. If it's for seva, then you can take that step. Right? So, Hare Krishna. Pujala Ragapat Gaurava Bange Matala Sarujana Bishaya Range. The motto of Sri Gaudiya Mat and Srila Saraswati Thakur. And I remember that that day where it's Vishnu Priya Devi, Raghunath Das Goswami, Pundarik Vidyanidhi, that special day, Vasant, like, I was there with Vaishnava Maharaj, Sridhar Prabhu, and so we're at the Purushottam Gaudiya Mat, and there, and on this big festival day, and there's not a lot of people, we're like the guests of honor. This is like 1977 or something. And the servitor there, his name was Dr. Shyamasundar Brahmachari. And one of these Gaudiya Mat, like Grihastha Brahmachari, now Brahmachari, maybe lifelong, very intense personality. That much I can say. So he's so excited. We consider if we have to serve people, that's some sort of a burden. Right? We're reluctant, apprehensive, whatever. Right? There's another type of person, the Vaishnavas, they're elated at the idea of doing seva to others, like distributing prasadam, serving another. They live for these moments. So it's time to serve the feast, and I realized, like, there's just like 2 or 3 of us, and he's going to serve us. And he looks to me to be in his like 70s, 60s, 70s. Like that. And so I say, oh, Prabhu, like, let me, I get up to help. He goes, no, Prabhu, And I'm thinking, oh, this is so awkward. Let me help. No, Prabhu, you said, And then I really let me, and he goes, do not disturb me. And I went like, okay. And I like sat down again. And then he's like smiling, happy, serving the prasadam. The disturbance was if I was to assist him. And this is consistent. There's Pritu getting some mercy. And really, Guru Maharaj said, there's a famous sloka when he had, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu being published at the Mat. And really, it's one of these books where, and this is not uncommon as it might seem, right? But like someone like Guru Maharaj, he will commission some pundits to do it. And they can consult him if there are any difficult passages. That's how that book is done. Right? So they're doing that, in other words, they're taking one from the Goswamis and they come to this passage where a devotee is saying, I don't care for Baladev, I don't care for Lakshmi, and they're saying like, what is this? This is the book on devotion, the book on pure devotion. And Rupa Goswami is giving this example of this one servitor saying, I don't care for Baladev, I don't care for Lakshmi, I will serve, and so these pundits, they were perplexed, because Guru Maharaj said, when those parts come, then you come to me and I explain. And Guru Maharaj said, yes, that what is being shown here is that servitor, why is it's pure devotion? He's saying, Baladev and Lakshmi, they're such intimate with the Lord. Right? They shouldn't be doing, I'm the person who should be doing this seva, not them. They're free for their pastimes with the Lord and everything. This seva, I will do this. Right? In other words, so not that no disturbance will come to them, similar to the Radha Mukunda Parasam Bhavagama Bindo Nirmanchano Pakarani Krita Deho Laksham Utunga Sohrada Vishesha Vishat Pragobam Devim Gunai Sulalitam Lalitam Namami. That Lalita Saki shows the greatest magnitude of eagerness for the least aspect of service. And I'll conclude with this, that so at this Purushottam Gaudiya Mat, Srila Guru Maharaj was there with Saraswati Thakur. And one thing I said, they have a garden also. And it just says a footnote, sidebar, that things that you're not supposed to take during Chaturmasya, if they're growing in that garden, Saraswati Thakur would have the devotees offer them and take them, because it's the garden of the deities, and that was an exemption. But anyway, so Saraswati Thakur is giving a very beautiful talk and very high. And while he's giving that talk, one of the Mat devotees comes up and approaches him and telling him some necessity for some service of the Mat that they need to do. And Saraswati Thakur stops his talk and he starts dealing with that. And Srila Guru Maharaj is annoyed. He's saying like, Prabhupada is discussing something so high and wonderful and you're coming with this. Some relatively trivial Mat Seva. He said, but he sees Saraswati Thakur is happily dealing with that. And he said he came to understand. Saraswati Thakur explained that Srimati Radharani, she's the major domo of Krishna's, that means, like the queen of the house, for all the domestic affairs. Actually, Brinda's there, it's a Spanish word. It's probably mayor or domo or something. But so he said, she's the major domo. So all the domestic affairs of the mat, like marketing, cleaning, doing anything related to the service of the mat, he considered Radha Dasyam, or direct service to the holy lotus feet of Srimati Radharani. So he's very happy to pause his talk and deal with that seva. That's what Guru Maharaj got from that. And that he heard from the lotus mouth of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur at Sri Purushottam Gaudiya Mat, which is built on the Chatak Parvat, where the devotees would discover Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his divine madness, searching for Sri Krishna. Reality the beautiful. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Madhusudan Maharaj,
Yes, Maharaj.
conclude the meeting.
Well, we really haven't walked very far today at all. We've walked. I think if we chant japa,
I think we walked very far. We walked.
Okay, Maharaj.
We went past Vaikuntha and Ayodhya and Dwarka. We went very far. Vrindavana hoite Shrestha Koila, Gandharvika Giridhari Jata Kridda Koila. Yes, Maharaj.
I stand corrected, or I sit corrected here, Maharaj, indeed. However, we've come to Chatak Parvat, we've been here at Sri Saraswati's Bhajan Kuti, his temple, and wonderful things, Maharaj. And so now it's the evening time, it's now 9 o'clock there, and let us come back now to Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Mati in Chatak Puri, and let us hear chant Shri Shri Nittai Chaitanya Arati. The Arati composed by Gurudev, Srila Govinda Maharaj, directly for these deities in Puri. And Gurudev was very happy with this Arati, Maharaj.
Yes. And it demonstrates Srila Gurudev's, why Guru Maharaj said it could only be him. Because these things are, in selecting Acharya, are important to Guru Maharaj. As far as Guru Maharaj is concerned, the position of an Acharya is a Brahminical one. The Acharya is one who can extract the meaning from the scripture. That he must be able to do. For Guru Maharaj, it has nothing to do with managing. It has about extracting the inner meaning of the scripture, and on the basis of that, then managing. Like we see Saraswati Thakur doing. So here, Srila Govinda Maharaj shows his extraordinary, super extraordinary qualifications, in that not only can he do all these managing things, which Guru Maharaj says many can do, but he can write an arati like this. Right? This comes from the heart of Srila Govinda Maharaj. He also wrote Govardhan arati, and Govardhan for Raghunath Das Goswami, the Govinda Kunda aratis, and other things. And he helped Srila Guru Maharaj in his compositions. But like the all-rounder that he praised so often, Srila Guru, like, so he's the all-rounder who can compose an arati, manage a mat, and nourish an entire mission with the love and devotion, that's the affectionate guidance flowing from his divine heart. What page? Yellow. What's 34? Okay. Yes, Prabhu, begin. Shri Bhakti Vakaka Deva Goswami Sridhara Sita Kanchana Dini Sri Anga Rabani Jugare Bana Mala Bhavera Jugani Nitai Chaitanya Bole Natswe Amar Man. Jai Shri Nitai Chaitanya Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivraja Kacharya Satara Sada Shri Srimad Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Bhagavan Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Saparikar Sri Sri Guru Gauranga Gandharva Govinda Sundar Ju Ki Jai. Shri Giriraj Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Rupanu Guru Varga Ki Jai. Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gop Govardhan Shyama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Navadip Dham Ki Jai. Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai. Shri Gupta Govardhan Ki Jai. Ganga Devi Jamuna Devi Bhakti Devi Tulsi Devi Ki Jai. Jagannath Subhadra Balabhadra Ki Jai. Shri Chatak Parvat Ki Jai. Shri Purushottam Gaudiya Mat Ki Jai. Shri Nitai Chaitanya Jiu Ki Jai. Om Vishnupad Vishwavarenya Sule Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswat Madhacharya Vrinda Ki Jai. Jai Shri Bhakti Vinod Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Shri Bhakti Ranjan Madhusudan Maharaj Ki Jai. Seva Vrinda Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakti Vrinda Ki Jai. Nitai Go Premanande. Hari Bol. Shri
Jai.
Jagannath Ki Jai. Jai Brinda Devi, thank you. Hare Krishna. Finally, in Espanol. Jai Sri Hari Prabhu Dandavat, he's in Brazil. Madhusudan Maharaj at Bila Govinda, Munindra Mohan Prabhu, Keshvananda Prabhu, and other Bila Govinda Bhakta Brindas.
And
Hare Krishna.
And Muktinath Prabhu here too, just behind.
Oh, Muktinath Prabhu as well. Yeah, and I see.
Oh, Banavi, she sneaked in.
Banavi in the back, I see a little pixelated version of her. Hey, Krishnandavat. And Siberian tongues, Ekadashi, Didi, and Damayanti. Oh, Dandavat. Hey, Krishna. Chaitanya Nitai Prabhu in Vrindavan. Sulakshana is here. Madhavi Devi Dasi Dandavat, Kumkum Didi Dandavat, Brajalatika in Russia and Orsk, Lalita Priya Dandavat, Praneshri Didi Dandavat, Rupa Vilas Prabhu in the Philippines Dandavat, then Govinda land, Hare Krishna, Jai in the Ukraine Dandavat, Divya Shakti Didi Dandavat, Jai Sripad Bhakti Sevan Rishikesh Maharaj. Hare Dandavat. Nityananda Ram Prabhu in Colombia, Dandavat. Krishna Priya Didi in Thailand, and Govinda Farm in Chiang Mai, Thailand. Hare Krishna. Bhagavan Das Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Dandavat. Ajita Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat. Seva Rupa Devi Dasi, South Africa, Dandavat.
He's in Lakta.
In Lakta. Oh, yes. And where Gurudev used to like to stay, the gazebo. Hare Krishna. He said that, what is it called? The water there? Baltic. Finnish Bay. Said when Mahaprabhu bathed in the divine form of Haridas Thakur in the ocean in Puri, that was so purifying, that water, and then the next ocean it touched, and the ocean and ocean, he said, including this one. So all of these are holy places, have been sanctified. That's how potent is the divine form as being bathed by Haridas Thakur, being bathed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in the shore of that broad blue ocean. Madhavi Lata Didi Dandavat. In Sochi, Jai Dandavat Prabhu. Jai, there is Srimad Bhakti Asrai Dandi Maharaj, Hare Krishna. And Maheshwari Didi, Mathura Basi. We're told Sadhu Sangha, Nam Sankirtan, Bhagavat Shravan, Mathura Bas, and Murti Sevan, and Janvi Didi, Dandavat, Ananta Shesh Prabhu in Spain, Dandavat, Subhashini Didi in Ireland, Dandavat, Leela Sundar Das Brahmachari in Kiev, Ukraine, Dandavat, Sushmita Didi in China, yay! Dandavat, Odar Jalila Didi in Ukraine, Dandavat, Gaurachandra Prabhu, Dandavat, Aviram Prabhu, Dandavat, Madhavi Lata, Dandavat in Petersburg. This Krishna Kumar, das Dandavat, Sankarshan Prabhu, Dandavat, the Sochi Bhaktivinoda, Dandavat, Priyanana Didi, she's here. Then Dandavat. Gurjit Aurora Prabhu in Kolkata, Dandavat, Damodar Das, Dandavat, Lakshmi Priya Didi, Dandavat, Satyabhama Didi, Dandavat, Nityananda Das is here, Dandavat, Jamuna Didi here, Dandavat, Pavan Krishna Prabhu here, Dandavat, Dhananjaya Prabhu in Russia, Dandavat, Rupanuga, like he's in Australia, Dandavat. We heard in the song Jivanuga, we're Jivanugas, Rupanugas, and Swarupanugas, but all are Rupanuga. And there's Prafula Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat, Shanti Moyi Didi, Dandavat, Jai Kumar and Charubala, Dandavat.
All things we mentioned.
Oh, everyone. Indumukhi, Dandavat. Hare Krishna. Sochi Bhaktivinoda, Dandavat. All right, our obeisances. To everyone, Vancha Kalpa Tribhyasya, Kripa Sindhu, Dhananjaya, Chaitanya and Rome.
Devacha Patitanam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Dandavat, Dandavat.